We're good. Our kitchen in the vineyard. I am Jim. This is
Jonathan. Hi, good to see you again.
great to see you. I think we have our moms with us.
Probably, I think
All
so.
I hope so. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, hey.
So, and you know, I hope we have lots of you out there drinking our fabulous wines. It is a cooker today. This week is hot.
It is so hot. Yeah.
We hit 104 yesterday, and we probably hit triple digits again today. And
but you know, it's always like this. I don't know whether you remember. I think 2 weeks ago I was complaining. We had a little bit of a cool, rainy spell, and I said, you know, the vines are blooming and flower, and it starts to rain. Now everything is flowering, and we have like 100 degrees. So you know, it always comes back at me. So yeah, but
kind of like harvest.
Yeah. I always end up jinxing it. So you know, whatever. But with perfect flower weather, basically. I've looked at our Chardonnay today. Chardonnay is completely through with bloom. There are tiny grapes already. They're about the size of shot, you know, and will only get bigger. The reds, the Cab, and the Merlot are like in full flower.
The aromas are fantastic.
Yes, it blooms. It smells so wonderful. Yeah. It's really nice.
And I don't know about you, but they often say you can tell the type of harvest based on the aromas. And you know, it's so hard to capture the aromas that we're experiencing right now as we go through these different vineyards. And you know, it smells so wonderful. The different savory notes, and just, you know, Chardonnay smells different than the Cabernet, than the, you know, Merlot. They all smell different. And then to benchmark that and to translate that back to the wine 6 years from now. So
yeah,
tough thing to do.
If you can remember that in 6 years, then you know, I take my hat off.
You're better than we are. So.
Yes, exactly.
So speaking of wines.
Speaking of wines, we have a couple of really interesting things today.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do a new meets old, and you know our philosophy. You know, we're New World fruit, but we are you know, Old World style. So I love the Old World style of winemaking, the kind of hands off, really made in the vineyard. You know, minimal intervention, and just really letting the land, the terroir, you know, just everything about the vineyards express themselves. And so we're going to go through 3 different wines of ours. We're going to go through our Sauvignon Blanc, which is just newly released. We're going to go through, taste our Estate Chardonnay 2017, and we're going to taste our Salt and Stall Pinot. We are going to compare those with some German wines that Jonathan has brought in the same vein. And I think you have a special one here that I'm really excited to try.
I have a couple of really interesting things with me today, which I'm also really excited about. Sometimes I get a little bit homesick, and I have just a remedy for that. And yeah, we're speaking of old vines, and I was surprised to find out that not only is the oldest brewery still in operation found in Germany, but in fact also the oldest winery still in operation is found in Germany, not in France, not in Italy, it's Germany. So I take a little bit of pride of that. But
so we have a peasant's meal.
We do indeed.
Well, maybe a little bit more than a peasant's meal.
Well, no, it's quite a peasant's meal. So we've got this guy has been cooking for me so much, and he's done it today again.
Chickens.
That's a chicken.
Very simple. Got some new Dutch ovens.
Yeah.
Did almost a little bit too hot, but I got some Dutch oven bread that we did. And then Jonathan has brought some cheese.
I brought some things.
This is what I'm really excited about.
Yeah. So let me show that to you guys.
I'm going to open the wine while he does that, and we'll get some wine in our glass. Why don't you explain there?
Yes. So if you would go to a little winery somewhere in Germany, they would often serve some simple food, and you can order something which is called a Winzervesper, which translates roughly to the vintner's platter, and you would get something pretty much like this. So you'd have a couple of cheeses. There's 2 soft cheeses. There's a Gouda. Here's a Gruyere. It's a Swiss cheese. It's like a cream cheese. Some pickles, and then obviously lots of meats. Quite often they make them themselves. So here's a smoked liverwurst. Here's a tongue blood sausage. I know not everybody's thing, but it's wonderful. I'm so excited about this. Here's some head cheese. This sausage is called a bierwurst, so like an ale or beer sausage. And then this is called Fleischwurst, so meat sausage, literally. They're all made of meat, so I don't know where the name comes from. And then very important, again, the German mustard, which has started in our show before, and then some pickles here. And when you would order this, you would usually get this with a little shot sitting in the middle, usually some kind of grape-based brandy, vodka kind of thing, usually also made by the winery itself. And together served with, obviously, delicious bread. I bought this here locally from a German bakery. A rye bread with some seeds here. And you would get this. And then also very important, I could not resist bringing this. So this is butter, but it's cultured butter. And that makes such a big difference. So it's not sweet cream butter, but cultured. So it has a much more tangy flavor. And you would get all these things. And then obviously plenty of wine with it. And so we have that today. And then we're going to have the chicken and the fresh baked bread from here. And yeah, I'm very excited about that. And before we really start with the wine tasting itself, I also want to share one thing with you guys, because that's kind of, the quintessence of going to a wine place in Germany. You would get a wine served in a glass like this. And what they do, they mix it with a little bit of sparkling water and they fill the glasses full. They really, and that's what you would get. That's called a Weinschorle. And often you would share a glass like this, obviously not in Corona time, so it's all for me now. But, usually would say you'd order a glass like this in a group of 4 and the glass would just circle around the table. Everybody would drink and then you get the next glass. Cheers.
Cheers.
So you saw this was about 3/4 Riesling and then a little bit of sparkling water. It's wonderfully refreshing for a day like this. It's just what you want. But now we can taste wine seriously. But I just had to share this.
I opened up our Sauvignon Blanc, so we can properly cheers.
Thank you.
So this is newly released. This is our Napa Valley Sauvignon Blanc. Comes from 2 vineyards. It's a hillside vineyard and a valley floor vineyard, and this is a field blend. So when the grapes come in, I'm tasting these grapes and really making sure that they're, it's a proper blend. The leanness of the mountain grapes, but the lushness of the valley floor grapes to really get that blend. And it wasn't overly hot when these were picked, so it was. We kind of slid into a really nice harvest with these, and it's I'm getting some great. Really nice grapefruit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call this like a New Zealand style.
No,
it's
really
not. Racy
no.
acid, much more Bordelaisan style.
Yeah.
A white Bordeaux, which that is. So.
Yeah, a little bit more the yellow type of Sauvignon Blanc. Some fruit, tropical fruit there. Not the green grassy type.
So, you said something kind of funny, and I can't wait to taste your cultured butter, as if our butter is not cultured, but I'm going to let that slide because this man who brings cultured butter to the table parks farm equipment in my kitchen. Well, actually, in all honesty, I parked it there. So.
Exactly. It's just going to show off, but we're both really excited because, it's like
we have a new toy.
It's our definition of like toys. They're always a little bit bigger. They're a little bit heavier, about 1,000 pounds, and they have to be hauled by a big tractor. But yeah, let's go and let's take a look.
Let's go take a look at this. So we're gonna flip the camera. I think you may have lost us for a second, but this is kind of a fun piece of equipment,
and it's just very massive and solid.
Lots of steel,
and yeah, isn't it a beauty? So what this is called a subsoiler or a ripper. And it does pretty much exactly that. It goes into the soil and it goes under hard pans you may have in your vineyards. If you think about vineyards are planted in rows, it's a row crop. And so over the years, I obviously with my tractor drive always in the exact same track. there's no other way. I can't go anywhere else. So over the years, you may get a little bit of compaction. Luckily, we have tractors going on tracks, so there the weight is much more evenly spread out. But if you use wheel tractors, that's a huge concern. And so equipment like this comes in handy because it's able to rip down to almost 2 feet and break up any hard pans. And this machine is very interesting because what it does, it's not only pulled by the tractor. You would use a lot of horsepower to be able to do that, particularly on our steep hills. But you can see a couple of hydraulic hoses here, and they actuate 2 hydraulic cylinders which sit behind the ripper tines, and there's little wings sitting behind the ripper tines, and they will oscillate and breaking up the soil and significantly reducing the drag you'll have, and so you don't need as much power to pull them through the soil, and they obviously create a much bigger breakout left and right. And in these cracks, the roots of the vines can then grow down and reach new nutrients and water, and we get more air into the soil, which is very beneficial for the microorganisms in the soil. And overall, we just increase the quality and the biological activity of the soil. And this guy hasn't bought it yet for me. I'm just demoing the machine, but it's exciting. My birthday is in September, and Christmas is also coming up again. So that's kind of what I want.
So we always kind of say
you guys have to comment a lot and say like, get the new machine.
Jonathan needs this. Social media pitch. So we always got to say that our grapevines are like the La Costa spa for grapes. So this is kind of like a vineyard massage, right?
It's kind of a deep tissue. It's like a really deep, 2 feet deep machine. Exactly. Yeah.
Not something you'd want to use on your back. So,
no, you shouldn't. It would definitely break your back quite literally.
All right.
But yeah.
Well, let's get to some of these wines.
Yes.
I'm kind of excited. So we've tasted our Sauvignon Blanc. So we've talked about this kind of old world, new world style. This is definitely, that Sauv Blanc, definitely perfect on a day like today. It's, nice and crisp, refreshing. It's hot. And so it's still, way up in the 90s. So we're really enjoying a wine like that. We don't want a big, heavy wine. Not that I don't love our Cabernet, but that's not, really the one.
It's not for every day.
Not for a day like today. So, this wine is absolutely perfect, and I hope some of you are out there enjoying it. I know Michael Dean, shout out to him. Pragati, shout out. Let us know what you're drinking. I kind of love to know, if you're drinking something different. Maybe you're sitting in air conditioning and you are drinking a Cabernet because it's nice and cool where you're at. Lucky you. We're out here in our kitchen and beautiful office. So,
yeah, it's horrible.
It is horrible, but it does get hot on a day like today. But anyway, so I think I'm ready. I'm ready to let's move through these.
So as we said, compare and contrast. So we have our Sauv Blanc here, and so what I brought is the Sauvignon Blanc. It's a little bit older. It's a 2013 from the winery in the region of Pfalz or Palatinate. You can see the golden color. I definitely have a thing for ripened white wines. I have the last wine we're going to taste will also reflect on that.
What's the vintage?
The vintage is 13, and the winery is called Von Winning in Deidesheim, and it's a very old vineyard. It's
popping up. I don't know if you see that golden color. If I'm getting it right, if you're getting some contrast to it.
So I'm showing the bottle here.
And there's some butter, kind of behind it, in the white plate. You can see that really more golden amber color, which happens in an older wine.
Yes.
Very nice. Lovely, like really.
Yeah. So you get. I mean, that's kind of. Ripe, round, a little bit of smokiness. I have had certain Chablis and sometimes what's the variety in South Africa? The white variety. Escaping me right now. Which sometimes get this sort of like honeycomb aroma. Chenin Blanc. Chenin Blanc, yes.
All right, Chris Louie and the boys are back.
Well,
good to have you. Good to have you here.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
let's see.
All right. Well,
Cheers.
Here's a beautiful, really, much different style.
Very different.
Much richer.
Almost more like our Chardonnays.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah. I mean, you could get fooled on this that it was a Chardonnay.
I think I would easily end up with a Chardonnay too.
I mean, I think if you put that in front of me, I would not guess.
Yeah.
It does have just the tail notes of a Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
It kind of chases it away a little bit from the Chardonnay, but I mean, obviously we know what's in the glass, but
yes. No,
But there's the lemon peel. Are you getting that?
it's coming
really
coming
fresh
back,
lemon
and
peel?
you get it sort of like the aftertaste where it has a nice tartness to it, and that is. We're going to talk a lot of about acidity today because we'll have some wines from Germany, and I think we really live on the acidity. There are many things you cannot do very well in Germany. Great cabs probably not grown in Germany, but when it comes to acidity, I think it is really a place to look into, and I'm so fascinated, and many wines reflect so well how important acidity is in wines. We talk often about alcohol and sometimes about sugar, but acid in wines is just
It's key.
So
It's
crucial.
It's the backbone.
Yeah.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
That's I've said this time and time again. You've heard it. It's that palate cleansing, refreshing aspect of it that will cut through the fats in the food, that will cut through the different flavors in the food. It's a palate cleanser. It just keeps moving through your mouth. Mixes with the food, it pairs, complements, and then that acid cleanses, makes you ready for the next bite. When you have a board like this, and I can't say the name of it because, and I hope you don't test me on it, but
That's all right.
Maybe later. I'm going to learn German one way or the other. But there's so many different flavors that are present here, and normally on anyone's table, that acid would really help delineate each bite and kind of really make you enjoy the food versus. We could take this whole thing, put it in a blender, and make it gray, and put it in a milkshake, and it'd be calories. Yeah. But what fun would that be?
Yeah. I guess that is certainly something to be said about this food. What all these things share, they're not light. There's plenty of fat in all of them, and also maybe an interesting piece of information for you guys. This also would be considered a dinner in Germany. So we don't usually have warm dinners like you guys have here. We eat usually cold cuts, cheese, meats, and bread for dinner. And so that's the stuff I grew up on every evening. That's what we have. My mother would prepare a plate like this. Usually nicer than that. Not quite, sometimes not as nice, during the week. Things get busy. But that's what we would have in a variation on a dinner table, together with bread, butter, some pickles. And that's dinner in Germany.
And, and not a bad dinner whatsoever.
No.
All right, well, let's move on to Chardonnay. Since this is kind of a segue, with the Chardonnay.
That really leads us nicely over. Yeah,
we can do that. That it's really fun to compare that and how it almost fools you, into the Chardonnay. So it's kind of fun to taste that a real classic style, and and then move to the older, more ambered look. Little tartrates on there.
Oh, nice.
So some people get a little. There's not a lot, but on the top of this cork, let's see if I can get kind of a profile. There's just some little crystals, and they look like salt crystals, and they're kind of flaking off. That's what's called wine diamonds. They're just tartaric crystals. They don't taste like anything. They're crunchy. It might taste like the same texture as a turbinado sugar. But not sweet whatsoever, and that's just because the wine is stabilizing in the bottle. They're just some of the acids are kind of just dropping out, similar to tannins, but they will adhere to the cork once that cork is seated and gets a little bit of the crystal on it. Then the rest of them will kind of build on that.
I think we have to talk a little bit more about chemistry, you and I, later.
Chemistry, yes.
But, so it's a potassium salt of tartaric acid. That's what it is, and they actually taste a little bit tart because it's a bitartrate. So there's still a proton left in there, so they are actually acidic. But that's what that is. Yeah.
but very neutral. I mean, nobody's
Rather neutral.
I mean,
and it's no
doesn't
sugar
hurt you.
whatsoever,
It
and
doesn't
it's
hurt
not
you.
bad. The only thing that means is the wines were not stabilized, so we did less to the wine and just let it develop by itself.
High production wines would be heat stabilized, cold stabilized, and it's a whole nother process that plunges the temperature down. It has some additions to it. Again, these are minimal intervention wines, and they're all really under our control. They're not large production wines that are out there, in grocery stores. So they don't need to be done like that, and it really lets the purity of the wines come through. So it's just again, a more natural way to do it.
Exactly.
And there may be a rough edge on that. So,
cheers.
Cheers. Now, I noticed right off that the color of this and the color of that Sauvignon Blanc are almost very, very similar.
Yeah.
And
what was the vintage on the Chardonnay we drinking?
17.
17, so, and the Sauvignon Blanc was 13.
So 4 years different for those of you that are quick on math.
Exactly. So. But on the nose, I'd say there is, now that I have the Chardonnay actually in my glass, there is a difference there. It's just a richer wine. There's a much smoothness in there.
Yeah. It doesn't have quite the the citrus.
Yeah.
That Sauvignon Blanc I was getting almost when you take a lemon peel and squeeze the oil right out of it.
Yeah.
That quick, and you get it on your fingers. That's what it was coming on the back end of that. Where this, our estate Chardonnay typically will have more of a like, if it does get the lemon, it'll be more of a Meyer lemon, creme brulee,
right?
A richer, fattier lemon.
In general, exactly, I agree. And I also want to come back to what we said like 2 weeks ago when we had Juan Pablo on the program, where I think I also feel here in our wines how the environment just influences them. There's so many. These days, I spend a lot of time on the tractor mowing because wildfire protection, it's a thing. But as I mow the plants growing around the vineyards, I get all these aromas. They get volatilized, and I smell them. And there's really things I then find in the wines again. And that's probably one of the things I like the most about California, besides the wonderful people here, is so many plants here which are so fragrant. And that's just marvelous, I have to say. I rubbed leaves and twigs everywhere, and luckily he told me what poison oak looks like, so I didn't rub that. But there's so many fragrant plants here. If you go on your next hike, be aware of that. That's wonderful. It's not like this in every part of the world, so that's really cool.
That's a great segue to Pinot Noir. And Pinot Noir from we're going to drink a Sonoma Pinot, but the Pinot Noirs from the Santa Cruz Mountains really get these wonderful flavors of what I call a forest floor. And so if you ever do a hike on a warm day, a nice 80-degree day, and you're walking through and you can smell the some of the redwood needles that will fall. We don't have a lot of pines, but we do have some pines. But the oak leaves that fall, and those will heat up, and there's a certain smell, and it goes back to my childhood that I smell. As I walk through there on a warm day, and when I drink a Santa Cruz Pinot, I get those flavors and those aromatics, and the same thing with our other wines here that are our Cabernet. I always get the baking spice, but there's times of the day that I'll walk through the property and I'll smell that. And I can't tell you what causes. I mean, we don't grow cloves or cinnamon or anything like that. But it's something about the oak trees, the chaparral, all of that combined that has this presence of these the fall leaves, baking spice. Fall is one of my favorite times. I mean, it's harvest. It's it's when I get my hands on the grapes finally.
Right.
But and I can do that. But I love the smells. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. This cooking and bringing all that culmination of flavors together. And that's I get those same things in the wine.
It's really, and that's what when the French talk about terroir, that's really what they mean. They don't necessarily mean the soil. That's part of it, but it's the entire environment which all has an influence on the grapes, including what kind of underwear the winemaker prefers. I'm not going to tell you what I'm wearing, but
Whoa.
you know, it's everything. It's the whole thing, and so it's much more than just the soil.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the full environment of where it's grown. All right, now.
Well,
All right, we scored some good wine diamonds here.
Don't forget, we have a Chardonnay to match that, our Chardonnay. So,
I forgot. I'm sorry.
No problem. So we had our Chardonnay, 2017 was that?
17. And what is this vintage?
So this is an 18.
18?
No, it's a 16 actually.
16.
I'm sorry.
Well,
and so
much lighter in color.
Much lighter in color. Germany, not as hot, not as warm climate. The winery is called Berscher, and it's from Baden. It's the southwestmost region in Germany, and that's actually where I grew up. And
so I'm going to show you the color on that if I'm getting that right.
Yes, you are. You're perfect in the.
Yeah, so you can see how much lighter. I mean, it almost looks like our Sauvignon Blanc. You know, it's that light in color, so you know, not near as golden.
Yeah.
Really nice notes in that.
It's very different from. So this is, I would say, it's rather representative for a German Chardonnay. But they all very different from American Chardonnays, or at least Californian Chardonnays, in that they are much more subtle flavors. Usually, German winemakers do not use a lot of oak, if at all, on Chardonnays. And we're much more on the floral side, much lighter. Sometimes even to a degree where I'm like, Chardonnay is kind of boring. Whereas you know, whereas here we have these, as we talked earlier about, these like very rich and full flavors. So this is in the compare and contrast. This is really a contrast, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely so.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to the old world. So Jonathan, Kelly is reaching out to us. She's asking us, where do you get these wines? So I'm going to answer the quick question. You get these wines at www.housefamilyvineyards.com. But, you know, it's really fun to put different wines on your table. And, you know, as you know, I always kind of make this pitch. If I had all the money in the world, I wouldn't drink Chateau Petrus 7 nights a week. I wouldn't want it. I mean, one of the most expensive sought after wines. I mean, you could spend thousands of dollars in auctions on one single bottle. And while I love our wines and I love them, it's, you know, nobody wants to line any one cellar with only one wine. That's what wine is. Wines travel in a bottle, and that's why we do this. We really want to embrace the world of wine, expand your knowledge, you know, based on obviously on our wines, you know, and bring our vineyards to you in this time. But, you know, where did you pick up these wines?
So you can get lucky, and you know, sometimes at place like Costco you will find something, or a small you know, retail.
Are you going to find good quality wines at those, or where are you going to have to look out?
Costco sometimes, you know, you get decent things there, but all the wines we're tasting tonight, with I think one or two exceptions, which are wines which I literally brought over from Germany. I bought at a tiny little wine shop in the Rockridge Market Hall. It's a place I really recommend. It's really nice, you know, cheesemonger, bakery, nice produce, and there is a really good wine merchant, and he has a very nice German wine collection. He has also a couple of Austrian and Eastern European wines. He has also plenty of Italian and French and the stuff you get everywhere. But, you know, if I look for some German stuff, I usually try there first.
How fun. No, it's great. It's great to be able to find these. And you have to find like small wine shops in order to do this.
Yeah.
Costco's kind of a tough one. While they do have, you can find some deals there. You kind of know what you need to be shopping for.
Yeah.
You're probably better off at a good wine merchant where you can ask them about, you know, kind of classic stuff and good representation of that. There are certain importers. I can tell you, Kermit Lynch is a very good importer of wine, and that's you know, they I should probably get Aaron to do a little piece on importing wine. Aaron's our cellar master. He's probably not on. Aaron unfortunately took one for the team, and he's out there with, hopefully not a broken toe, but certainly a stub toe to for sure. But Aaron, if you're out there watching, I hope your toe's feeling all right.
We caught 2 rattlesnakes for you. Aaron is our snake guy, so he'll set them free once he's back.
Our herpetologist, and we've got some great pictures of him. He's always saving the snakes. Yeah. Bless his heart. So, but yeah. Anyways, getting back to where to get these wines. Yeah. It's tough, but a good wine merchant will have these. Obviously we're not in the wine merchants. We're direct.
We're making our own wine.
we are a wine merchant, so we can get them to you direct. So, right. Do you want to move to the Pinot Noir?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, I got Dave standing over on the outskirts. We're happy to drop back socially distant. His mouth looks like it's watering. He may want to grab a glass and taste some of these wines because we're doing that. So I'm going to invite him in just a minute to sneak through. He's going to probably pass through, say a quick hi, and I don't know. He may talk for a minute. And Jonathan and I can wet our whistles and go.
Speaking about,
we can drink our our non-shared drink. I have a pint glass over here.
Well,
you should have told me that. But
well, there's plenty left. So
okay.
Come
right.
just
maybe after the show.
Yeah.
All right. So. One of the great people on this earth is Sam Saltonstall.
He is an original. I mean, it's like
everybody loves Sam. If you meet Sam, I don't know if you happen to be watching. I should have told you we were featuring your wine. This is the second time we featured it because it's one of my favorite vineyards. I share it with Jason Kistler. Jason Kistler wants all of it. I won't let him have it because I've got this beautiful part of the block in there. So anyway, so. Jason, if you're watching, you can't have the vines. I'm still keeping them, but I'm going to pour a little bit of this, and then we're going to compare it to a German Pinot Noir there. So, thank you. Jonathan and I are going to clink glasses.
Cheers to you, Sam.
Here's to you, Sam, and we're going to walk off. Let Dave walk through socially distant. So, Jonathan, you want to go that way? I'll follow, and Dave, come through, say hi, grab some wine.
Hello, everybody. Very happy to be here and watching from the distance. Let's see. I think I will go for the Pinot.
There's
that's the least
not a bad call on the Pinot.
This is one of my favorite sipping Pinots because it's quite full, got a lot of flavors, very rounded. Yeah, just as I remembered it. And but I have to say I like all of these wines. I'm going to have to try the German wines afterwards. Yeah. Thank you, Jim.
Should be fun. You bet. Thanks for stopping by, Dave.
Thank you.
So,
I
was just to say, you might have noticed we're still practicing that social distancing. Give you a quick update. I still don't know when we're going to get open.
But we're getting there.
We're getting closer. It's a day, a week, a month, a year. Pick any one of them, and it could be that. But I'm hoping it's within weeks that we're going to get back open. We're kind of waiting for the county to get back up and get wine club members. If you're on, be patient. It's as soon as they give us a green light, doors are going to be open. We're getting the tasting room ready. We've done a lot of improvements. We're going to have the tables set apart. We have these wide open spaces, beautiful view. We may even give you a quick pan of the valley. This morning it was almost looking smoggy, like there may be a little bit too much smog, but it's blown out and it's just beautiful.
It's
out
wonderful.
There right now.
I mean, it's so clear.
It's,
it's wonderful. Yeah.
So it's be great for the grapes to grow up in this. Again, the La Costa Spa for grapes. I think Jim House, that was always your term. I know you're out there watching, and I'm stealing your line, so be it. But so let's get back to these wines. So we've got the Saltonstall. This is probably one of our one of the more darker fruit wines that comes out. We do
is that the same?
Same.
Okay, sorry.
Display bottle. So this to me is probably get the best extraction in terms of skin. Really small berries. So flesh to skin ratio works really well. lot of black tea notes, Earl Grey. When it's fermenting, it's got so much character to it, and it really comes off, and it just always makes me so excited to get back to the wine and kind of jump into it. So it's fun to do these, and I get to come back and taste the wines in a critical way and compare and contrast those wines. But this wine, comparing to our Santa Cruz wines, which they're a little bit more Burgundian in style, and I know I've used that term, which is a little more austere. They make you reach for it. This wine, as Dave said, is a great sipping wine. It's what I would call our cocktail Pinot. If you're going to just have this in the, open a bottle in the late afternoon, you want that Pinot, that's what the wine, that's the wine you want. It's got all kinds of character. It does go well with all kinds of food, but it really keeps up on its own, where some of the others really like to pair well with food. And, just, kind of get back to the dinner table, so to speak. So
no, Sam or Salt and Stall is really like, a story in its own. And, it's a beautiful little vineyard. It's just one block. It appears like it's like one field of vines just sitting on the hill slope. At the bottom is a little lake, which he uses also for irrigation if he has to. Next to it is an olive grove because he also makes his own olive oil. And he has I think 3 different clones there, which we all mix together to make this wine, and it's just wonderful. I always like going there.
That was the original start of the whole clone project, which was the 667, 777, and 115, the Dijon clones. So all of the Pinot vineyards that we source from, I've been watching them.
Yeah. Okay.
We're cooking this bread. We're just finishing this stuff up slowly. So we'll be cutting into that, in a few minutes, but. Yeah, so the Pinots, all the same ingredients, handled all the same, treated the same, barrel regiments, but yet they're all so different. We did that kind of compare and contrast early on, in one of our tastings, and it may be fun to come back and do something a little more in depth and put all 4 Pinots out there and get these wines out for people. But so let's give the
so this
German
wine
one a try.
You guys realize. I mean, I think I've never done that much talking on these videos before, and so now I do, because there's some things I'm really passionate about. I'm passionate about our wines, obviously, but so is this guy. But this is kind of my thing. So here's a Pinot Noir from Germany, but it's not just from Germany. It's from the winery, a winery called Weingut Wilhelm Zeringer. So that's the patron.
Say that 3 times fast.
Wilhelm Zeringer. But, I have an advantage. Yeah. That's just what we do, Germans. And this is a 2009 Pinot Noir. And that winery was the first winery I ever worked on. So I learned most of the things I know today there. And then after that, I went to college and studied viticulture. And, they just did some touching up there. But the basics, I got here. And so really a shout out to the people from Wilhelm Zeringer, particularly Pauline Köpfer, who was basically their vineyard manager. So what I am now. And I learned so much from him. And then Erika Wessels, who was their cellar hand there, but basically everything I know about doing in the cellar, I learned from her. And 2009, that was, I started there in 2008 and finished in 2009. So these Pinot grapes, I actually picked myself. Were the first grapes I picked. And I'm so excited they made this wine, because you guys can't really see that, but the label says, "Love me." And on the back, the fine print, I'm not going to read out everything for you, but it says "Love me, Los Angeles." So the youngest generation of Wilhelm Zeringer, Fabian Zeringer, I believe, has some connections to California, and he made this wine and bottled it. And when I was home the last time, which is way too long ago, I think almost 2 years by now, and I went obviously back there, and they gave me this bottle and said bring it, take it with you to California. And so I did, and I thought it's a perfect occasion to drink it today. So here we go.
Very honored to taste this wine. Are they on watching?
No, again, you guys know it's 2:00 in the morning in California, in Germany.
Started.
But I'm definitely going to reach out to them and let them know that we did this. And I hope they'll watch the video. And I hope you see this, Pauline. And I'm going to reach out to you privately soon and send you my new email address. And I hope we can get connect a little bit again.
I think I smell a little of you in this wine. Cheers.
I licked some clusters.
It smells great.
It's a little bit cold. I had it on the ice because it was so nice. Still hot here.
Clove, deep clove.
A lot of clove.
Clove center. Immediately.
Yeah.
Really runs down. Very nice.
Did you see the alcohol in this?
I did.
You did.
And I'm surprised that I don't smell it. So I'm not a big alcohol. Surprisingly, I don't like alcohol. I don't like to smell the alcohol. Obviously I drink a lot of alcohol, but I don't like the presence of the alcohol, the out of balance. But I have to say, I was amazed. It's 15.5.
It's 15.5
for a Pinot. That's like crazy.
That's kind of
high.
brutal.
That's
yeah.
high octane Pinot, but you don't smell it at all.
Yeah.
So I was really curious to get into this wine, and I can't smell the alcohol at all.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It is, and
now it's getting the umami characters, from there.
So I'm very glad you say that. So German Pinots, if I would have to characterize them, so there's basically two types of German Pinots, and they will quite often be denoted by two different names in Germany. So the German name of Pinot Noir is Spätburgunder, meaning late Burgundy, because it's of the three Burgundy varieties, it ripens the latest. And so if it's the German style, which is rather fruit forward, light, often produced in big oak barrels, so not really like a barrique character on them, they'll call it Spätburgunder. Whereas if they make it a little bit more in the international style, Burgundian, New World, barrique character in it, then they'll often label it Pinot Noir. So they use the English name for it, or Pinot Noir is actually the French name, but the name the rest of the world uses. And so this is definitely more the international style, I'd say. But these Pinots tend to have like rather dark flavors. We talk often about a little bit of a venison or gamey, a little bit of a gamey note in it. So when you say umami, I think that's sort of like the same thing we're talking about. Sometimes a little bit of the darker roasted coffee, which is often from the barrel coming. Peppery notes, not peppery in the sense of like green bell pepper, but like really black pepper.
It's a culmination of all those flavors that kind of they really layer in and kind of cement this good flavor. The palate for this thing is just really deep over your tongue, really nice, and just really travels out well. So it's
and that's what he's talking about. These the tannins, the texture on the tongue you get. So there is a tartness to it. So we're talking acidity, but here it's also the tannins, which have a different texture. We could say they're maybe a touch of more aggressive. It's cooler climate, so the tannins tend to be a little bit more aggressive, but it's really, really nice. I mean, it's a 2009, so they had some time to really even out, smoothen out, and that's what, 9,000 miles away, or 9,000 kilometers and 6,000 miles. I don't know. It's very far.
Whatever
away.
math you do.
And
definitely
that that's where I come from. That's the people which made that I'm here today and make wine, and I'm very thankful for them, very grateful, and it's just beautiful.
Well, I'm grateful to them too for the knowledge that Jonathan brings to the vineyard. The partnership we have, and just the fun we get to have out here. I mean, just who would have thunk that
what were the odds, right?
Literally, when Jonathan came to interview.
The first interview, he said, "I don't have a job for you, but I have lots of work."
and here he is, sharing all this experience, and and we're just having so much fun together. And we cook together, we grow together, we make wine together, and wow, we have a lot of fun.
We definitely do, and I'm very grateful. And it has been wonderful.
So I think I'm getting hungry, and
You're getting
get
hungry.
Into this platter. So a couple things out there. So Michael Dean's out there saying hi. Michael's got some tremendous story. Michael Dean's a great buddy of mine. He's international opera star. Studied, was in Salzburg and traveled Europe.
Oh, really?
He's got some really fun stories of, talking, kind of linguistics. And, when he was learning German and, talking about sausages and just, not quite getting the words right all the time, but,
good enough. One or two more, of those Riesling Schorle, the big glasses with the wine, and your pronunciation will be on point.
Well, that may have been the problem because you may have not been using all the words properly correctly, but he does have some funny stories, about that. So, Michael, here's some great laughs, from that. Pergotti's out there saying hi to House Family Vineyards, and there was somebody that asked, "What's my go-to summer wine?"
Oh yeah, I saw that question too. What's your answer?
It has to be this. This is just summer in a bottle. This is, this right here. I mean, if you're seeing if we can catch a little sunlight on that bottle down there, so that's our we only have about 125 cases of that, so that will not go long. That's our 2019 rosé, in bottle, and if you're just seeing the sun just gleam off that, if you don't just want to dive into that like a cool pool on a day like today, that would be my go-to wine on a day. That's summer water. That's it. Next up would be our Sauvignon Blanc. And then you move down the line when you get to dinner and these other wines.
There is, however, if you'd ask me, last year in Harvest we did something new, and that's not yet in bottle, I think, and I'm really excited about that because it was kind of Aaron and me which had this idea, and it happened when we had crushed the grapes and we're sitting in the tank and fermenting, and he showed me, smell this, it smells amazing, and so we opened the tank and it was like you punched me with a bunch of raspberries in the face. It was wonderful. It was so fruity. And so we had the idea to make sort of like a Beaujolais kind of style. So a red wine, it's a red wine, but it has never seen the inside of an oak barrel.
Nope.
Only in stainless
All
steel.
in stainless.
And so the idea was to preserve this fruitiness, this like raspberry fruit was amazing, preserve it, get it into the bottle. And I think this is going to be a red wine, which we're going to serve actually chilled, not quite as cold as a white wine, but fairly cold for a red wine. And I'm really excited about that. That's going to be my summer wine.
All right. That's good. That's a good end because that would be my barbecue wine. Then I would go to chill that while I'm grilling the meats. It's that transition wine to, that heavier red that I want to have with those steaks, but it's while I'm grilling. We have 3 barrels of that. We're going to bottle that probably within
stainless steel barrels, no
yes.
oak.
No oak. This thing is, I did taste it last week and it is tasting phenomenal. So tasted it out of there. So we're going to get that in barrels. So I think that's exciting. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the world of wines from right here at House Family Vineyards, with our
all the
rosé.
way back to Germany.
Yep. I mean, old world, new world, but kind of really old.
Basically,
world, so.
The best of both worlds.
Exactly. So right here, it's cooling down. I don't know what temperature it is, but I'm starting. The shade is great. The oven's kind of dwelling down,
heating us here from behind.
Yeah. So we this was a labor of love to sit in front of a wood-fired oven for the last 3 hours cooking these rotisserie chickens, but wood-fired chickens. So super excited to get into this. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have a glass of House Family Vineyards wines in front of you. We'll be back next week with a new segment. Maybe we should do that Beaujolais. We
should make a barrel sample and present it. And maybe 2 weeks from now, you guys will actually be back here and we can actually do this in person again. We're so excited. I will admit, sometimes I enjoy it. It's kind of quiet up here, and I can do my work here, and there's no customers over which feet I'm tripping, or who trip over my tractor. But we've been missing you, so
Yeah.
we really hope that you guys will be back here soon.
We want to share the wines with you. Absolutely. We love sharing here with the family, but we want to get you the other part of our family back up here in a safe, secure way. Know that we have wide open spaces looking over this beautiful valley, and we've got beautiful wines waiting for you. So, until then, stay safe, drink up. Cheers.
Cheers.